Welcome back, and it's the 1st of Jan today, and for some it might be their first video that you're looking at. So if that is you, make sure you've tried the questions before I do them. So either pause the video, I'll put a mini pause at each one, or just download the sheet from Corbett Maths itself. But again, the key is that you've had a go first. Okay, let's get going. Right, first question. So this first question is a solving question, and that's key because what you need to be doing is to make sure you're solving and not just factorizing or similar. Now, in order to solve a quadratic, you need to bring everything to the left-hand side or to the right-hand side. So I'm going to take away 14x from both sides. I'm going to take away 51 from both sides, and that's going to give me a quadratic equation here. You know 3 ways of solving this, so you could use completing the square. That's the one most people don't like. You could use a quadratic function, which will always work and always give you an answer. Or in this case, you can spot the two numbers that multiply to make minus 51 and add to give minus 14 are going to be minus 17 and plus 3. So therefore, I know if those numbers are the numbers that go inside the brackets. So I'm going to write x minus 17 and x plus 3 equals 0. Now, whenever I multiply a number by another number to get a 0, one of those numbers should be a 0. So either that bracket's equal to 0 or that bracket's equal to 0, which means that x is either equal to minus 3 or, and the or is important here, this is not an and, or equal to 17. First question done. Okay, next question. So the next question is telling me that a is directly proportional to the square root of b. So this is a proportionality question. I know this is one of those questions that a lot of people don't like, but there is a technique that, there is a method that will work with almost all types of these questions. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the relationship. So the relationship is a is directly proportional to the square root of b. That's my relationship. I can then turn that into an equation, and that equation basically replaces the proportional symbol with a k and an equals. So therefore a equals the k times the square root of b. Now the second step is almost always to put numbers in to find out what the value of k is, where k is the constant of proportionality. So I can therefore say that 50 is equal to k times the square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So therefore I can rearrange this to 50 is equal to 2 times k, which means that k is equal to 25. Now the key here is I now have an equation. So I have an equation that a, generally for all values of a and b, a equals 25 times the square root of b. Now the final bit is often that we put another set of values into the equation, but this particular question ends here. I found a in terms of b, in other words a equals, next question is done. Okay, next question. So next question, you need to spot the keyword. So the keyword here is a similar shapes question. Now, whenever I do a similar shapes question, it's always about working out what the length scale factor is, the area scale factor is, and the volume scale factor is. You don't necessarily need all of these, but it's a common grid that I use in order to try and keep some consistency between what people are doing. Now, in this case, I can see I've got two lengths. In order to go from A to B, I multiply by 4. So my length scale factor is to multiply by 4. My area scale factor is a square of 4, which is 16. And my volume scale factor is a cube of 4, which is going to be 64. Then the question says, work out the volume of B. So I'm going to start with the volume of A, which tells me the question is 7. I'm going to multiply that by the volume scale factor with 64, and that's going to give me 448 centimeters cubed. You may not need the units, but get in the habit of writing the units. It's a good habit to do because then you'll always think about it being there. Question done. Okay, so into the final two questions now. The next question is it's one of those questions whereby there's a technique that often most teachers teach in a very similar way. It's possible you've been taught differently, but the way that I always teach it is as follows. So x is the number I want, and x is equal to 0.28 recurring. Now what I want to do is be able to keep multiplying by 10 such that I can then delete all the recurring numbers. So if I multiply by 10 here, I get 10x is equal to 2.8 and then 8 recurring. And the reason I've written it like that is because my 8 recurring will then cancel out when I take these numbers away. So in other words, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8 will take away 8, 8, 8 will disappear. So I'm going to do equation 2 minus equation 1. Always a good idea to say what you're doing. So that's going to give me 9x Now 2.8 minus 0.2 is 2.6, which means that x is equal to 2.6 over 9. But you cannot have decimals in your fractions. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 10, which is going to give me 26 over 90. Now, if this is a calculator question, get your calculator out, just type it in, it will tell you what the answer is. But if you can't see that straight off, divide by 2 is going to give me 13 over 45. And because 13 is a prime number, I can't simplify any further. That's my final answer. By the way, just to be clear, because I jumped over it, the question is very clear. It does want simplest form. So you would have lost a mark had you left it just here. Final question. So this is a triangle question, at the risk of stating the obvious, but it's a triangle question where there is not a right angle. If there's not a right angle, it means it's going to be one of three things, which is the sine rule, cosine rule, or the area of a triangle formula. There are questions where you have to drop a right angle and you have to work out the height of different triangles, but typically this is a nice straightforward question of one of those rules. Now, because I've got an angle in between two sides, and I'm trying to work out the length of the missing side, which is opposite the angle, this is a cosine rule question. So therefore I can say AB is equal to the square root of 8 squared, and this is me just knowing the cosine rule, so it is one of those things you need to learn, plus 6 squared minus 2 times the product of the sides, 8 times 6, times by cos of the angle in between, which is 75. Now, if you haven't already, put that in your calculator. Part of this is calculator skills, to make sure your calculator skills are good, and what you should have got is 8.67. If your number is somewhere in the vicinity of 68, 69, you forgot to do the square root, which is really common. Quick sanity check, 8.67, that looks about right on an 8-6 triangle, so therefore I'm happy with that being my right answer. And that's it, 1st of Jan done. Come back again for another sheet. Do like the page, please, and subscribe so you can see the next ones appear in your feed. Thanks all.